Or smooth. Well, actually, and before you say anything, hear me out. Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. My name is Eric, and today I'm going to be ranking every single movie that I've seen in 2024 from worst to best. Meaning that potentially some of your favorites might not show up. I haven't seen Fall Guy, okay, I haven't seen Borderlands. But to be fair, who did? In this video, I'm just going to be ranking every single movie that I thought was cool, and hopefully by the end, you won't threaten me once we reach Movie of the Year. With that said, here are the best and worst movies of 2024.
Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Starting off not so strong, we have Megamind 2, Megamind vs. Skylanders. Oh my god, how we have fallen. Never in my life have I hated a movie so much. Aside from Toy Story 4. Now I'm sure you already seen or heard about this movie, so I'm not gonna go too much into depth. But Megamind 2 is one thing and one thing only. Straight up basura. Garbage. Trash. For years we have been waiting, begging DreamWorks to make an official Megamind sequel. Recreate the magic that made the first one so impactful to an entire generation. Only for us to get this thing. I've seen YouTube ads with better quality than this. I can practically see the pixels on Megaminds. Just why? Now, DreamWorks has always made collaborations with other studios and companies. From Nickelodeon with Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness, to Netflix spamming out 20 seasons of Boss Baby. At this point, I'm not even joking, holy. But the fact that DreamWorks improved this is insane. Where they allowed this movie to be made, to be seen, to be released on a streaming service that no one uses. Name one person you know who uses Peacock. My god. And they had the nerve to say you're welcome.
Megamind is back.
I'm kind of a big deal.
And you're welcome.
Like, bro, we don't want this. Take it back. It's like, who saw this and thought it was gonna be a good idea? The fact that they ruined all of Megamind's credibility, its legacy, just to make a couple of dollars on a streaming service is sad. DreamWorks is so frustrating. I can never understand this studio. On one hand, they'll give us bangers like Shrek, How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda 2. And on the other, apparently this movie had a very low budget, explaining why they couldn't bring back all the original actors to reprise their roles. Here's the thing. If you knew you had a small budget and couldn't bring back all the original actors from the first movie, heck, couldn't even make this movie look slightly appealing, Cocomelon looking, then why bother? Make the movie in the first place!
I know that when you see Madam Web, you're gonna love it.
Are you sure about that?
Wait, it came out this year? Oh, okay. Madam Web is one of the movies I've ever seen in the theaters in my life. There is literally nothing I can say about this movie other than the fact that it's another Sony Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man. After causing the entire internet to panic, Sony and Marvel ended up making a deal back in 2019, where every time Marvel made a movie about Spider-Man, Sony would get profit from the movie's earnings, and Marvel would get profit through merchandise. And you might be thinking, oh, but Zarek, what does this have to do with Madam Web? Well, actually, because while Marvel owns the movie rights for Spider-Man, or at least Tom Holland's version, Sony owns everything else. This is why we've seen 2 and potentially 3 Venom movies and other spin-off movies without Spider-Man. Because unless you got Kevin Feige's blessing, it ain't gonna happen. And you can tell Sony was not happy with that, because they have been desperately trying to get Spider-Man, or at least a version of Spider-Man, to connect with their movies. But wait, that's not all. In an early concept photo, you can see Tom Holland's Spider-Man out of the MCU in Madam Web's universe. Can you believe it? The balls on these guys. They were willing to do all of this for Madam Web. Aside from behind the scenes drama, there is nothing interesting about this movie. They really try to overcomplicate the Spider-Man mythos, while at the same time literally adding nothing. Aside from getting to see Sydney Sweeney Black Latex, the movie sucks. And before you start commenting, oh Zara, you can't say that. You can't even judge me, just look at the marketing.
That when you see Madam Web, you're gonna love it. In fact, I think you're gonna see it twice.
And you say I'm shameless.
Bruh.
Alright, so basically these movies are supposed to be a sequel slash reboot of the franchise. And while I'm not a die-hard Ghostbusters fan, like many people, and I mean many people. After watching the dumpster fire that was the 2016 reboot, I was glad that we were gonna get a direct continuation of the previous movies. I first saw Afterlife when it first came out in theaters with me and my cousins. It checked out all the marks of what to expect from a Ghostbusters movie. We got Zool, again, ghosts doing ghost things, and Paul Rudd. But as for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire...
Stay inside this car. I have a ghost to bust.
But Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, it's not like the others, okay? It's different. Because now we have a ghost who has ice powers. So, that's cool.
Stay cool, bird boy.
I'm so funny. Alright, so basically Phoebe the girl befriends a ghost girl named Melody. As the story progresses, they start to develop feelings for one another. Wait, a 15-year-old falling in love with a ghost? Hey yo, what kind of fanfic is this? So anyway, because Phoebe's so head over heels for Ghost Mommy Emily Allen Lynn, she reverse unalives herself, causing the apocalypse. This is already weird enough because well, she's a ghost. But even though Melody's supposed to be 16 in the movie, or at least that's how old she was when she, bit the dust. Maybe she died in the 1950s or something, who's to say? But in the real world, Emily Lynn is 22. And while Phoebe's actress McKenna Grace did turn 18 this year, she was still 17 when the movie first came out in theaters. And while it's not too weird, because yeah, it's just a movie, it's still awkward how they hinted at these two characters having romantic feelings for each other, when in the real world, both of the actresses had not only a 5-year age gap, but one of them was still underaged. Again, nothing bad happens in the movie. These guys probably had like 5 scenes together at max. Not too much of a big deal, but I still thought it was weird. Anyway, where were we? Wow, the new Avatar looks great. Due to this movie not doing so great at the box office, plans for future sequels are currently still in the air. Now, I'm sure this isn't going to be the last time we see the Ghostbusters on the big screen, because come on. But until we get an update, the franchise, unironically, is currently in a purgatory state. And while Frozen Empire wasn't great, it's still better than whatever this was.
The power of pain compels you!
It's me, a Mario. That's not the voice. You'll have.
Now, if I had a nickel every time Chris Pratt voiced an iconic character in pop culture, I'd have 2 nickels. Granted, it's not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. A lot of people have been annoyed that recently whenever we get a new animated movie, big celebrities will almost always end up taking up the roles instead of professional voice actors. And while I do think it's a fair criticism, because again, just by how common it is, at the same time, when it comes to movies that have multi-million-dollar budgets, you can see why studios choose to do this. Like, why hire a lesser-known voice actor for a movie that you spend a fortune making, when you can hire, The Rock?
Hey everybody, Dwayne Johnson here. I am inviting you to check out the Black Adam Experience on Roblox.
That way, it's almost guaranteed people will come see your film. Don't get me wrong, it's so silly, but from a business perspective, you can see why this happens. And Columbia Pictures is no exception, because in 2024 this year, they gave us the Garfield movie, with Chris Pratt as the money-hating lasagna muncher himself. Now, before we start this review, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I do not hate Chris Pratt, okay? Compared to a lot of people in the entertainment industry, Chris Pratt seems like a chill dude. And if you see my previous videos, you will know that we got some history. The problem I see a lot in Chris Pratt's most recent movies isn't that he's a bad actor, but because he keeps getting put into roles that are simply not made for him. It's one thing when we get famous celebrities to play roles in animated movies, and it's another when those celebrities have to play famous characters with distinct voices for animated movies. And as frustrating as it is, I actually don't mind his voice in the movie.
Move this man!
Sure, he's no Frank Welker or Bill Murray, but he was pretty good. And as for the movie, one of the main problems I have with this movie is the constant change of tone. It's like they had so many ideas for what they wanted this movie to be, but just didn't know how to put them all together into one coherent story. Like, did you want this to be an origin movie? Did you want this to be a father and son drama, a spy thriller? Just so many ideas that caused the movie to feel a little bit half-baked. But okay, fine, I'll admit, I did get a little emotional while watching this scene, okay? Just a little.
I'm sorry I let you down.
Get it? Imaginary? Friend? But also like, what if? Like, anything.
I mean, come on, his name is Blue. The similarities are similarity-ing. I can just imagine John Krasinski watched Foster's one day and was like, wait a minute, let's do that. Oh my god.
Bruh.
Anyway, for those who haven't seen this movie, If is about a girl named B. Bea?
Movie is about a little girl named Bee.
Who can see imaginary friends? Or ifs? Ooh, aren't you clever? Pat on the back.
Is that Grimace Shake?
And throughout the film, she tries to help the imaginary friends who have been forgotten over the years find new children to be friends with, while at the same time find the beauty in life. And yes, when I say that this movie reminds me a lot about Foster's, it reminds me a lot about Foster's. They got me this flow! When I first saw the teaser trailer back last year, I wasn't really that invested. So when I went into this film, I kept my expectations pretty low. But surprisingly, I thought it was pretty good. I just thought the movie was really wholesome. And while I do wish you would have dived more into the concept of imaginary friends, like dive more into the world building and the power of imagination, stuff like that I would have found really interesting. But aside from that, I still thought the movie was effective. Especially that scene with the girl and her father. Oh my god. As someone who has lost someone very close, that got me. As for the visuals, the movie was just mwah, chef's kiss. The way certain scenes are framed in CGI for the imaginary friends just look fantastic. It reminds me a lot of Roger Rabbit, the way they interact with the actors. Overall, it's a fun movie, and dare I say it, for the whole family. But if I had to give this movie a rating, it would be a solid 7 out of 10. Alright, now for the pain. Kung Fu Panda 4. Yeah. Now if you've been on this channel for a while now, you will know that Kung Fu Panda has a special place in my heart, as corny as that may sound. I love these movies so goddamn much. From the storytelling, the characters, the animation, and while yes I agree that Kung Fu Panda 3 wasn't the best movie in the franchise, I still thought it was a fun conclusion to the story. So when I heard that DreamWorks was going to make a Kung Fu Panda 4, like many people, I was worried. I don't know why, but I feel like the number 4 is just a curse to any franchise that crosses it. Seriously, it's not just me, right? Matrix 4, Shrek 4, Spy Kids 4, Toy Story 4. Yes, we're still doing this! Age of Extinction, Terminator Salvation, freaking Love and Thunder, I can keep going. With all these great movies, already had amazing trilogies. It makes you wonder why Hollywood can't just leave them alone. Oh wait, like if you're going into this movie expecting Kung Fu Panda 2 levels of storytelling, then yeah, you're gonna be disappointed. But if you're someone like me who didn't really have any high expectations for this movie, and just went in thinking it was just gonna be one of the other movie sequels 2024 has been spamming out, then it's actually pretty good. Just like in 2023 with the Mario movie, Jack Black carried Kung Fu Panda 4. So say what you want about Steve, but he is great as Po, I love him as Po, he's good. And with that said, here comes the pain.
Kung Fu Panda 4 wasn't meant to be a good movie. That was not my fault. Not your fault? Who filled my head with past movies? Who made me wait 8 years for the movie to release? Who denied me my destiny?
So apparently the reason why the Fierce Five were not in this movie was because he wanted to be Poe's story, where he is the main focus. And while it's fun and all, let me ask you something. Wasn't the whole trilogy just Poe's story? Can we talk about that? Even with the Furious 5 taking some of the spotlight from time to time, the movies have always focused on Poe. And if anything, it should be the other way around. Give us a Furious 5 solo movie, give us a Shifu origin story, like come on, DreamWorks! So it makes you wonder, why do you feel the need to not include the Furious 5 in this one? I mean, there are reasons, but like, the reason why the Kung Fu Panda movies work so well was not only because of Poe's character journey throughout the trilogy, but also his relationship with the Five. They work off each other. Each character has something to contribute. They're a team, they're a family. So not including them in the movie, especially Tigress, feels like a disservice to the characters we've grown to love. And before you say, well actually in the credits, that doesn't count. Basically the movie's about Poe learning to accept that life sucks. It turns out Poe is really old, so now he has to find a successor to take his place as the Dragon Warrior. Okay. First off, who says that Poe can't be the Dragon Warrior? Who decides that he can't be the Dragon Warrior? Shifu? In which case, why? Poe, the guy in the prophecy, the guy who stopped Tai Lung, the guy who literally resembles the yin and yang, the guy who fought a warrior spirit, the guy who saved China multiple times, the guy chosen by Oogway himself, is not the Dragon Warrior. Now, I can go on a whole tangent on how I think that this is f***ing bullshit, but I'm not doing that today. Also, since when was the Dragon Warrior a mantle? That wasn't in the prophecy. Did Oogway just forget? While I agree that visually Kung Fu Panda 4 looks good, a part of me can't help but look at this and say, yeah, that's not Kung Fu Panda. They tried to do the same thing like they did with Puss in Boots, where they changed up the movie's art style and animation. And while it worked for that movie, Kung Fu Panda already has such a distinct style and feel for the world that every time I see this movie, it just doesn't feel right. It just looks so clean and vibrant compared to the last three movies' more grounded and visually unique aesthetic. It reminds me of Last Utopia by the way everything looks so squeaky freaking clean. Now for clarification, that is not criticizing the artists and animators by any means. Because again, the movie looks good, but I just wish they were able to keep the art style from the previous movies. That way, the franchise doesn't feel like it's lost its identity. I already talked enough about Tai Lung in my previous video, but make no mistake, this guy is a demon! Until he wasn't.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on. Is this your king? Huh? Is this your king?
While the Chameleon isn't a bad villain, I found her to be not as interesting compared to the previous villains we've seen in the franchise. What makes her stand out is her lack of motivation. While a villain having an evil goal is important, what is also important is the reasoning for having that goal. Because giving a villain a reason why they are doing the things they are doing will tell you what kind of person they are, or whether or not you should take them seriously. And what's the Chameleon's reason? I'm going to take over the world! Because people made fun of me! Because I'm small! I wish I was making this up. Like, how is that your reasoning when Mantis is literally smaller than you? I am convinced that the writers either didn't watch the previous films or just forgot. Cause there's no way. She is the most basic villain stereotype. I do bad things because I'm bad. I'm going to take over the world because I'm evil. Outta hurt. If I had to describe the Chameleon's character, it's like a pizza with no sauce. Sure, it's okay as it is, but without the reasoning, backstory, and clever writing, she just ends up feeling underwhelming. Also, eating pizza with no sauce is freaking weird. Also, why is this movie so fast? I swear, the movie feels like it was supposed to be a 1-hour TV special and needs to add an extra 30 minutes. Like, when I was watching it for the first time in theaters, I was thinking to myself, damn, did he accidentally put this movie in 2x speed? But no, that's just how it is. It's like Poe has to find a new Dragon Warrior. Boom! He fights the fox. Boom! He stops fighting the fox. Boom! He goes to the city. Boom! He fights a giant lizard. Boom! It's like they were just speedrunning through this entire movie and just trying to get it done as soon as possible. Out of the 3 actors who played the previous villains, the only one who came back to reprise his role was Ian McShane. And while I'm not complaining, it would have been nice if we got to see everyone come back. And I mean everyone. Overall, while I don't think Kung Fu Panda is a bad movie, I just wish DreamWorks took a different approach with this franchise.
It is now.
The Dragon Warrior! It's me!
4th movie. 4th movie! Pharrell Williams, you are an absolute gem. I freaking love you. Please keep making bangers like this. Holy.
Why so serious?
Why so serious? Yeah. You guys have no idea how much I've been avoiding this part of the video. I didn't watch Joker 2, I didn't want to watch Joker 2. Originally, I wasn't even going to add it to this video because I simply had nothing to say. Everything I wanted to say about this movie, people have already said. Joker 2 is a mess. A financial disaster. It took everything that made the first movie so great and fumbled the bag. And again, I'm sorry, I hate when I sound like a broken record, it's so annoying, but again, Joker 2 is another example of a movie sequel that shouldn't have been made. What made the first movie so special, aside from making $1 billion with a $50 million budget, was that it has story to tell, and it told it well. Sure, the ending had some unanswered questions, but I feel like many people will agree that we didn't need another movie to answer those questions, and to just leave them to the audience, that way they can give their own interpretations of what happened. Whether you like it or not, you cannot deny the impact Joker has left on superhero media on the big screen. But out of curiosity and for you guys, I decided to watch Joker 2 once it released on HBO Max. Or Max, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't say that Joker 2 is terrible, it's definitely not worse than Madam Web, but you can tell that there was no love put into this film, or at least the story. The passion that made the original so great is not here. And honestly, who's surprised? The first movie made a lot of money, so the studio wanted the director to make a sequel that was never planned to be made. That's it. That is what happened. And of course, a lot of people have been talking about the plot twist that happens at the end. No, I do not think that's supposed to be Heath Ledger's Joker. It wouldn't make sense timeline wise. And Christopher Nolan wouldn't let that happen, so there you go. Now as for Arthur not being Joker, I have mixed feelings. On one hand, I do like the idea that Arthur was never meant to become the Joker that we know, that he was just a prototype, someone for the real Joker to see and be inspired by. But on the other hand, I can see why people would not like this idea, feeling that it makes the story a waste of time. If Arthur was never meant to become the Joker, make his journey feel pointless and unsatisfying. Again, there are so many ways this idea could have worked, and if Todd Phillips actually cared about the story he wanted to tell, I can guarantee that everyone would have given this movie a chance to shine in the spotlight.
The monkey chain! The monkey's fist! The monkey!
I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. Before I started working on this video, I completely forgot this movie came out this year. This summer. Godzilla X Kong is goofy. Like, really goofy. The tonal shift in these movies is insane. Where the first one back in 2014 had a more darker and serious tone and tried to be realistic by the way they represent the monsters in the world they established. And in this one, big monkey with a glove. The human characters are definitely the worst part of these movies or just any kaiju movie ever.
She needs it more than me.
What? So I'm glad that they decided to have this movie focus on the actual monsters. However, because I didn't actually care about the human characters for so long, it kind of affected how I felt towards this movie. Sure, we got to explore Hollow Earth and to learn more about the history of the Monsterverse, but honestly, I just didn't care. Also, at times, the movie just felt empty. Like they didn't really have a direction for what they wanted to do with the story. It's like, oh, something's going on in Hollow Earth. Monster fight! Oh, this girl can read minds? Monster fight! Mothra's back. Cool. Monster! Don't get me wrong, I love the monster fights. I love the monster fights. Big monkey fight big lizard with a metal glove, okay? I love that shit. But if that's all your movie has to offer, and no story to complement the monster fights, then it's like at this point I'm just watching random CGI slop instead of giant monsters brawling to the death. By the way, quick question. When did Godzilla become the good guy? I know there were times where Godzilla was an anti-hero, fighting other, badder monsters from destroying Tokyo. But hero? Feels like a stretch. I'm only bringing this up because in the movie, they really want you to believe that Godzilla is a good guy. Over here saying, Godzilla's a hero! He's a defender of humanity! Yeah. Sure.
Run! It's Godzilla!
It looks like Godzilla, but due to international copyright laws, it's not.
No, we should run like it is Godzilla!
Though it isn't.
Not even that, but did we forget what this man did back in the last movie? Your Honor, he is literally grinning as he's committing worldwide destruction. There is no good guy here. To give this movie credit, Kong was pretty cool. Over here, built like Kratos. I just love how this movie tries to hype up Scar King. Over here, acting like he was the greatest thing since toilet paper. But in reality, he's just a monkey with bones. You can't even say that Scar King is a worthy opponent because the majority of his strength depends on his control over Shimu, who is said to have caused the last Ice Age. So like, why wasn't she the villain? Overall, Godzilla X Kong is Now if I had to rate it, I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. I'm a little disappointed with this movie. But then again, we have to remember that both of these movies were directed by Adam Wingard, the guy who made Death Note 2017. Oh. Jenna Ortega.
I'm gonna flash someone on accident.
We are depressed. Like I said before in my previous review, Venom: The Last Dance is not a bad movie. Flawed, but not bad. At this point, I just don't care about these movies. I knew that Venom was never gonna get the white spider on his chest. I knew he was never gonna fight Spider-Man. I gave up hope a long time ago, and I'm glad I did. And if anything, I just feel bad for Tom Hardy. Like, imagine you got the opportunity to play one of the biggest comic book villains of all time, where you get closer and closer to that sweet, sweet Spider-Man vs. Venom movie, only for Sony to be like, nah. To be fair, Tom Hardy still made a ton of money from these movies, I'm sure it wasn't really that bad, but I can understand why he will be annoyed if he ever decides to reveal his true thoughts in the future. Venom: The Last Dance was fine. The action was cool. Venom was cool when he was there. And those alien things were insane. I think they're called Xenofaces, and these guys were just brutal. Like, it got pretty gory whenever they were around. I'm surprised that the movie wasn't rated R just from that. I do not care what anyone says. I am convinced that this was supposed to be a multiverse movie where Spider-Man would play a huge role in the story, but for some reason, they just didn't do it. We have gotten 3 Venom movies without Spider-Man.
Bruh.
Great job, Sony! And it's so weird because they also brought back Reese Ifans, who played Dr. Connors in the TASM movies. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad we saw him again, but like, was that all? Why would they bring him back? Just to play some hippie character looking for aliens. I just wonder what the original story for this movie was supposed to be like. Don't forget, Venom: The Last Dance was one of the movies that was affected by the writer's strike, so a lot of stuff could have easily changed. But with that aside, the movie on its own is... While I wouldn't say that the Venom movies are wasted potential, but a part of me knows that's a lie! Oh, and we got Noel. Yay!
Hey, how's it going?
Next up on the list, we have the 4th movie in the rebooted Planet of the Apes timeline, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes was a franchise I never thought was bad, but I just wasn't invested. It's one of those franchises that have been around for so long that I thought it would be impossible to catch up with its lore. But luckily for me, there was a reboot back in 2011. And once it was revealed that this movie was going to be a sequel to those movies, I decided to catch up with my Planet of the Apes knowledge. I actually watched the previous movies in preparation for this one, and I gotta say, I get it. I understand why people love these movies. Monkeys doing monkey things. Hell yeah. I absolutely love Caesar. He's my go. And seeing his progression throughout these movies is really amazing, which made this scene hit even harder.
It should have been me, not him! No!
Why they gotta do him like this? He was so happy. That's my boy. My boy.
That's my son! That's my boy! My boy!
Bruh.
The film takes place 300 years after the events of war. And while yes, that is a huge time gap, at the same time, I just thought it was cool because we got to see what the apes will be like in the future. What technology they will make, what cultures they will create. And you might be thinking, oh, the apes seem so peaceful and happy, and are actually better than humans in every single way.
No.
This movie makes it very clear that apes can be just as messed up as humans, if not worse. From violence, creating their own weapons, to attacking other tribes. Other monkey tribes. Oh, and by the way, humans are still alive. And still have perfect linguistic abilities. How? Well, I don't have a problem with humans still being alive in these movies, because first of all, that would make me a freaking traitor. These movies are just monkey propaganda, I'm telling you. But what annoys me the most is that this movie keeps repeating the same stupid question over and over again. Can humans and apes really get along? No, you can't. You made that very clear in the previous movies. Why are we still here? So yeah, aside from its flaws, this right here is the best 4th movie of any franchise ever.
It's actually kind of cool fighting monsters.
Ultram Man Rising was a movie released on Netflix this year. Netflix has had a history with this franchise before, with them also making a series back in 2019.
Excuse me, what the actual...
Similar to the series, the movie is supposed to be a successor to the original Ultraman, with our main protagonist Ken Sato taking up the mantle. It reminds me a lot of Spider-Verse by the way the movie averts their expectations, as well as adding to what came before. Usually in Ultraman, especially in Ultraman, it's the normal, big monster bad, must beat it up to save the city. While here it's a little different, because instead of Ultraman fighting monsters, he has to raise one. The kaiju in this movie is named Emmy, and she's just adorable. I just think she's the cutest thing ever. Seeing her father and daughter relationship with Sato, it's sweet. And it's very similar to the Wild Robot. We'll get to it when we get to it. The movie looks amazing. I love the art style. From the vibrant colors at night to the nice shading hues in the day, it's just beautiful. Honestly, if I had to complain about anything, it might be Ultraman himself. Well, I don't think the character designs look bad, but I'm not gonna lie, Ultraman be looking like he got neck pain. Somebody give this boy a sandwich, Jesus.
Sorry, are those miners in the race?
Miners!
I love Transformers. Okay? Now, if there were 3 movie franchises that made me the beautiful ninja that I am today, it would be Transformers, the Sam Raimi trilogy, and, Alvin and Chipmunks. My introduction to the franchise was through the Michael Bay movies. For better, or for worse.
I am directly below. The enemy screwed up.
I absolutely love these movies despite their flaws, and I would love to review them at some point on this channel. Hopefully I'll be able to do so in the near future. Till then, make sure to stay tuned. Now, I had very mixed feelings about Transformers 1. Originally, I was a fan of the designs. I thought they looked weird with those metal, luscious lips.
Let them come.
But after seeing the movie for myself, I actually like them now, especially Bumblebee. A lot of fans have been debating whether or not this was gonna be good, and I blame the first trailer because honestly, it did not do this movie justice. Now, of course, Transformers is for kids. The movies are geared towards a younger audience in order to sell toys. We get it. But still, the way the movie was marketed made it seem it was just gonna be another generic mid-kids movie. But make no mistake, while the silly moments are still there, as the movie keeps going, it starts to get a whole lot darker, a whole lot mature with its themes and story, the hierarchy of Cybertron, the way society functions by having certain ranks higher than others, the way other Transformers are ridiculed for not being able to transform, how public figures who promise to be there for the people are actually false gods who only care for themselves, and will do anything to keep themselves in power. Transformers! It caught me off guard so much because I was not expecting this. As for Orion and D16, I thought they were handled very well with their chemistry, their relationship, which makes it sadder when they inevitably split ways.
We were brothers once. This isn't over, Prime.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Or break up, how you want to view it. It does such a good job handling the Transformers lore and helping introduce it to the mainstream audience. From the eventual fall of Cybertron, Orion Pax becoming Optimus Prime, the rise of the Decepticon, biblically accurate Transformers
has proven you worthy in the eyes of Primus.
I just had a good time and the new fans are gonna love this. Now before we go, the moment you've all been waiting for, do I think this movie is connected to the Michael Bay movie? No. Granted, while it is a very interesting idea, I would much rather prefer this movie to be its own thing. As it is, this movie is so underrated. If it's somehow still in theaters by the time you see this video, go see it, come on! I need me my trilogy! Also, I think it's just a canon event that Senzo Prime will always be a jerk. I love this movie. The Wild Robot might be one of my favorite movies that have come out this year. And before you say anything, hear me out. The movie is based on a novel by Peter Brown, who is known for making tons of amazing children's books. The Wild Robot was his first attempt to make a full fleshed out story, commenting on the importance of nature, as well as the potential dangers of technology. And I actually have history with this book, because when I was in 3rd grade, Peter Brown actually came to my school. He said his favorite color was pink, which is why the sun on the cover is the way it is. And from what I remember, he seemed like a chill dude. He talked about his creative experience while working on the novel, from his inspirations, to just how it was switching from making children's stories to novels. From what I heard, the movie takes ideas from the first 2 books, but since I never read the 2nd book, I found myself a little lost at times. But of course, that's on me, not the film. DreamWorks did an amazing job making a faithful adaptation, bringing the Wild Robot to life. Seeing Ross's journey with Brightbill is just as beautiful as it was back when I was reading the books when I was a kid. And I'm just glad that new generations will be able to experience the story on the big screen.
Hello. I'm anxiety. Where can I put my stuff?
Inside Out 2 was honestly the biggest surprise for me this year. Whenever I hear that famous studio is going to make a sequel to one of their best movies after years since it was first released, I fear that they will potentially ruin the story and characters that I've grown to like. And Pixar is no different. Ever since 2019, Pixar has been hit or miss when it comes to their movies. Especially, I didn't hate the first Inside Out, actually that was pretty good. The story was cool, the mom's a baddie, and that's about it. Never rewatched it, never thought of it, until now. Inside Out 2 takes place years after the first movie, where Riley's now a teenager, no longer a cringe middle schooler. But as a teenager, she is going through changes, and new emotions. For this movie, we got envy, embarrassment, and boredom, and of course, anxiety. I hate you. Throughout the movie, she is constantly trying to change Riley in order to help her get through her life in high school. Pretty similar to Sadness in the first movie. Who I also hate. Joy's character arc is pretty much the same. She doesn't want Riley to change. She doesn't want to feel neglected. Yada yada, the whole shit. Aside from her, the movie does a great job giving these characters actual depth. In the first movie, it was mainly just about Joy and Sadness, and everyone else was just a side character. But here, no. All the characters are fleshed out, which is crazy considering how many new characters you had to juggle around. Inside Out 2 is a huge step forward to what came before, with Pixar constantly improving their animation, which looks amazing by the way, but also handling the movie's mature themes.
Maybe this is what happens when you grow up. You feel less joy.
Wow, Ron. Thanks Pixar. I really needed this today.
I have crippling depression.
My name is Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. Shut up!
I didn't care about the first Dune back in 2001. I saw it once on the airplane and just forgot ever since. Not that the movie was bad or anything, but due to its slow pace and monotone dialogue,
how dare you use the voice on me?
I just got bored really quickly. So when I heard that Dune Part 2 was on its way, I didn't care. Until I saw it. Dune Part 2 is awesome. Every problem I had with the first movie is just gone. What's crazy is that Dune Part 2 is longer than the first one by 11 minutes. And yet feels so much shorter while having so much going on. But one of the best things these two movies have in common is the beautiful cinematography. You can take a picture of any scene in the movie, and they can still make a really cool poster. Also that one scene. I think they forgot to add color. When it comes to characters, I thought Paul's relationship with Zendaya was pretty sweet. Until this one scene, like Paul, come on man. It's so sad because it seemed that they were going strong. Aside from that, I've grown to like Paul. Except the part when he becomes a complete psychopathic maniac, trying to fulfill a prophecy where he sees himself being in the right, despite him causing the death of millions. Where have I seen this before? Overall, Dune Part 2 is pretty good.
Rid me of this Fremen demon.
Hey yo!
You kissed your dad in the mouth?
You're a colorful bunch.
Who posted my nudes on Twitter?
Now if it hasn't been clear already, this video will have spoilers. So if you haven't seen Sonic 3 yet then... What are you doing? Go see it. Sonic 3. I still remember back in early July when all we had was this picture of Shadow Shoes to remind us that this thing was still happening. And the fact that Paramount decided to release the official trailer just 2 months before the film's release. My god, Paramount and Sega were either super confident that people were gonna see this movie, or they had no idea what they were doing because this marketing tactic was truly a gamble on their part. And it surprisingly worked because the amount of hype this film got was insane. From the Shadow Gooners, from the Tails Revolutionists, everyone had a good time. And as for Sonic 3 itself, yeah, they cooked. Just like the previous movies, visually Sonic 3 looks amazing. I know that it's become a recent trend with CGI movies just not looking good, but that was never really a problem with the Sonic movies. In fact, I always thought the CGI was handled so perfectly, making these movies truly look like works of art by bringing Sonic's video game aesthetic on the big screen. But with that aside, as much as I do love the Sonic movies and all they were able to achieve, I always thought of them as just okay movies. Not bad, not great, just okay. The plots of these movies have always been safe and straightforward. The tone of the movies, what I do come off as MCU-y with its humor.
Konnichiwa? Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up!
Especially in Sonic 2, Jesus.
The darkest.
I feel like that ever since the controversy that was the first trailer with Sonic's design, Paramount have been playing it safe, trying their best not to do anything that could potentially anger the fans with the Sonic movies. And while it's great to have a movie studio that actually listens to their fans, give us Sonic movies that will blow our expectations. Show us Sonic lore and storylines that we thought we would never be able to see on the big screen. And give us actual Green Hill, like come on! And that's kind of the main thing with Sonic 3. With the corny humor while still there, the movie does a fairly decent job handling the more mature themes like Shadow's backstory and the death of Maria. Oh, and by the way, when that scene happened, my theater, they didn't clap. Just want to point that out. You sick fudgy bunnies. Keanu Reeves.
You look
beautiful casting. No problems here.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter, huh?
Yeah.
He was amazing as Shadow. There was never points where I thought he was off, never points where I thought anything was forced. And the fact that they hinted at this as early as the first movie is really cool. So yeah. But as for the rest of the characters, I thought they were handled well. Seeing Sonic absolutely lose his mind, getting ready to beat up Shadow without the consideration of his well-being, not gonna lie, was pretty sick. And it's funny because up until this point, we never saw Sonic this angry in the movies. Like, bro was just mad. He was even willing to fight Knuckles. Like, bro, I commend you for your bravery, but you are not winning this fight. Like, did you forget what happened last time you...
Do you know the way?
Nah, it's canon. Sonic in the movies is a certified crash out. The rest of the movie is pretty cool. Having Sonic and his friends team up with Dr. Robotnik, stopping Shadow from destroying Gun, and oh my god, is he-
I'm pissing on the moon!
And if you thought it was insane when Shadow turned to Super Shadow, well, I mean, yeah, it was. But also, this scene right here. Again, they pulled an MCU. Because in this specific scene, Shadow turns into Super Shadow. But if you look at the trailer, they tried to hide it. I get why studios choose to do this to not spoil the movie for the fans. But there is a thin line from misleading to straight up lying when the trailer is right there. And as for spoilers, I messed up, guys. I'm not joking, the day before the movie's opening premiere, I was looking for background music for this video. And while I was scrolling, I came across a little video that said Sonic 3 post-credits scene official. And I thought it was funny, you know? I clicked on it thinking it was not gonna be a big deal, and it was a real post-credits scene. Now I could have just stopped watching, saving me from spoilers, but I saw the whole thing.
You are made of stupid.
Making me technically one of the first people to see Amy save Sonic before the movie's official release. God damn it. Watching Amy beat up a bunch of metal Sonics was really cool to see. And before you say anything, Sonic fans, calm down.
Hey, no, stop, just calm down, don't do it.
I honestly have no idea what they're gonna do with Sonic 4, but I do know one thing, that there is no way this is going to be the last time we're going to see Shadow. Because you cannot tell me Sega would bring this boy, would bring my boy, just for one movie. Nuh-uh. But it turns out we got a Sega post-credits scene, yeah, called it. Overall, Sonic 3 was great. And if Paramount is careful and doesn't fumble the bag, the Sonic movies have the potential to become one of, if not the greatest cinematic universe of all time. Possibly better than the MCU. Only time will tell. Till then, guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Zarek, I wish there was a movie that Sonic died.
Dude, it's really messed up. What would you say that?
For entertainment.
And yeah, I guess that's it, guys. We're done. The video's over. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Zarek, and this was the best and worst movies of 2020. And it feels like... That's right, we made it. Now you can call me whatever you want, okay? You can say that I'm cliche. You can say that I'm basic. A hypocrite. With me adding all those Sonic ring sound effects throughout this entire video. You might even call this misleading. And yeah, you're right. But I mean, come on, did you really think I was gonna forget? Yes, we are actually doing this. Now I'm sure like many of you beautiful people out there, I love Deadpool and Wolverine. During the MCU's most desperate time of need, this little guy came in like a low prayer. Now, as much as I can keep going glazing this movie for hours, the film had many ups and a few crucial downs.
How long I've been waiting?
There were times when the movie's jokes were very hit or miss. A lot of humor this movie relies on is very meta. Like even for Wade, a character who is known to constantly break the fourth wall. But in here, he just comes off as unnatural at times. Almost as if the mouse himself is holding my gumplings. And yeah, you can tell. Regardless of how much they tried, and believe me, they tried. You can practically see the big multi-million-dollar D on screen. Even though Wade himself constantly made jokes about it throughout the film, it's hard to ignore that this movie is under the Disney license.
Money!
Especially compared to the last two movies by Fox, where they had more creative freedom with what they could or couldn't do. You can tell that despite this movie being rated R, there were still things Disney didn't want to see.
No!
Marvel, Jesus.
The multiverse in the MCU has always been a sloppy mess, with some instances of being successful, so I'm not gonna blame this movie for not finding a way to crack the code. Because if anything, Deadpool and Wolverine is one of the best MCU projects to handle the idea of the multiverse. Or at least compared to a multiverse of mid. Some of the decisions the characters make are pretty dumb. Like, why did Wade think getting another Logan would save his universe? Wouldn't that just destroy the universe that Logan came from? Or would it destroy both?
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes, destroying one or both entirely.
Speaking of Logan, let's talk about the absolute stupidity that is anchor beings. Now, in case you do not remember, an anchor being is a person who is so important and so crucial to everything else around them that if they were to die, their entire universe will cease to exist. Now, there are a lot of things wrong with this. Apparently, Deadpool takes place in Logan's universe, even though that makes no sense. And because he died, the universe just gave up. Why does the entire universe's survival depend on one single person? Who decides they're important? The Watcher? And with that logic, wouldn't that make Tony an anchor being? Because he literally saved his universe. And with him dead, wouldn't it just die anyway? Making the events of Endgame pointless? You see what I mean? Now before you say, well actually Peter will be, I'ma stop you right there, buddy. Don't forget, aside from the No Way Home shenanigans, Peter hasn't really done much in the MCU. I guess maybe in the future? But what could you do that could possibly rival saving the entire freaking universe? Guess we'll have to see. Well, I can understand some of the criticisms some people might have of this movie, but at the same time, it's a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, guys, come on. I'm not over here expecting cinema. I just want to have a good time. And this movie did a good job. There is so much to love about this movie. From the action, the cameos, to seeing Hugh Jackman finally wearing the iconic Wolverine suit. And you know what else is great? Memes. Ever since this movie was released, ever since the first teaser trailer premiered at the Super Bowl, I've been seeing Deadpool and Wolverine memes non-stop. For months.
Somebody is smuggling pumpkins.
All over my For You page. From early July to mid-October as I'm recording. Despite all the time that's passed since the movie first released, the memes just kept on coming. Which is amazing because not many movies have that kind of impact. My little brother loves this movie. And he hasn't even seen it! Over here dressing up and dancing to Bye Bye Bye! With that said, I'm sorry but not sorry. There is no debate. You can see the evidence right in front of you. The crown for the best movie in 2024 is Deadpool and Wolverine. Well, there you have it, guys. For real this time. Here are the best and worst movies I've seen in 2024. And if you thought this year was crazy, wait till next year! We got the Minecraft movie, Captain America 4, Superman Legacy, the live action How to Train Your Dragon. Just a lot of stuff coming our way, and I cannot wait to share them with you. And yeah, that's about it, guys. This is where I'm gonna end the video. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching me rant for almost 20 minutes. Jesus. Making these videos do take a lot of time, so if you can please subscribe in order to help support the channel, and guarantee me not sleeping out of back of a Walmart, that would mean a lot. You already know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure to share this video to your friends, family, significant other, or yourself, I don't know. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Happy holidays, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.